Well, hello, hello, hello. I missed you guys. Kinda. Some of you. I want to go ahead and try this again. We tried a little bit live yesterday. I was trying to do this inside. In part because it's cold outside today. But also, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some things and be able to not necessarily be quite as distracted. You know how I get distracted. This is what you wear if you have warehouses with no lights in them. This is supreme, man. This is like boom, 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 boom. And also in case you want to knock somebody down. Anyway, I highly recommend these as the part of the prepper concept with the super duper batteries in it that you can charge up. Nowadays you get these monsters. And this is just any brand. Man, the power. But keep in mind, these things are made out of toxic materials. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, including me, this is Darby. And normally I'm outside, I'm doing a little walk around. And I'm trying to go ahead and give ideas for people who want to go ahead and perhaps do something different. Live different. Why? I get the opportunity to meet a lot of people in my life. And I was brought up in such a way that being poor, it's meaningful to me. Great. Take it for granted. Oh. Nectar of the gods. If you got them, got a lot of them, you might waste them. You might let them get rotten. Now, you got chickens. Great. They'll love them. But if you're paying $2, $3 a pound for them, I want to eat them. But now, if this beautiful batch of grapes were to cost you $10, could you buy them? Would you buy them? Personally, at this moment in time. Not if I can find them cheaper. I love grapes. But paying $10 for a little batch like that. Tourist trap, New York City, maybe Disneyland. Someplace where you know you're going to pay an exorbitant price for food. But in your grocery store, should you be paying 30 cents a grape or 50 cents a grape? Guess what? Someplace in the world they are. It's a sobering thought today. Why am I bringing this up? It's not affecting me a lot, but in case you haven't noticed, it's cold outside. Probably colder than it's ever been in the lifetime of anybody that I know, because I've been around a while, and you know what? It's colder than anything I ever saw. Now, excuse me for eating grapes. I'm trying to make a point. Not to mention they're good grapes. Why can I buy these right now? Middle of the winter. Tasty. Fresh. Why? How? Now, part of this is a global network of marketing that goes on. Truckers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, truckers, by the way. Don't you ever think I don't appreciate my truckers. I've moved stuff across the country. I've driven stuff across country. In good times. Not sitting out there for 11 hours out there in the snow, wondering if I'm going to even have enough gas to stay warm, let alone make it where I got to go. Same for all you people out there in cars right now, man. You can die faster in a car because it takes the heat out of you. I lived in a school bus for a number of years. I highly recommend school buses in the South. I do not recommend school buses where it's freezing outside because you can't heat one up fast enough inside to keep it warm without it sweating. And if it does happen to run out of heat, as mine did, you'll have icicles 2 inches long out of the ceiling, coming off every screw. Even if you put wood up, you got to screw into that metal. I made my first tiny house on wheels in 1981. When I got done with college, I was going to go off and write my great American novel. In my, oh, you guys remember the Partridge Family? Yeah. Tell me TV doesn't make us do things later in life. Oh, I don't sing. I don't play music. And I'm not the Partridge Family. But I did come to Texas in a school bus. I left Florida in when I got my college degree in English American Lit. So just so you don't think I think that's special, it's not. It was fun. I got to read a lot of stuff, got to learn a lot of stuff. But to make money, don't do that. Don't get no English American Lit degree. Oh, I almost had, oh, by the way, I almost had a double bachelor. I was going to have a sociology bachelor degree, too. I was studying to try to figure out, at the time, not psychology, but sociology. Why? Because this is back in the days of the early days of the cults. Like, you go into the airports and they had Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. And they would collect money. And if there happened to be a few spare souls around that were lost, they'd collect them up too and take them off and help them along their way toward a spiritual awakening of sorts, which others went back in later and pulled them out and deprogrammed them, you might say. Or actually, that's exactly the words they use, come to think of it. Now, good grape. If they could program them, if they could deprogram them, I wanted to know why. I'm not keen on being programmed or deprogrammed. So Vietnam was kind of a freaky thing, and I was a kid. And we were all upset in the United States because they were brainwashing our soldiers through torture and other things in those POW camps. I mean, you want evidence? I mean, tell you what, we had evidence. We had guys that squealed like pigs when they were facing torture, others that took their torture and never said a word. You can reprogram people. We have some good examples. My dad was over in Vietnam. My friends were over in Vietnam. I joined her in Vietnam. I was lucky. I didn't have to go. My dad went twice. Once for him and once for me. There's no good in that. I'm not bragging. The point is this, though. When they found out you could brainwash men, or close, and Kissinger went over there to bring back prisoners and such. And McCain, remember that guy? Oh, yeah, you remember that guy. McCain. Yeah. We didn't think a whole lot of McCain during the Vietnam War when he got special treatment for singing because his daddy was an admiral, and he went ahead and spoke on the radio and said those various things that they wanted him to say in return for not being treated like the rest of the people. You know what I mean? He became somehow a politician, like others from that era. I want to speak very specifically because this is a fantasy I write about. A fantasy where a man named Carey, who came back and spoke against the war, goes on one day to kill more people than any human imagined possible in my day. And for all the wrong reasons and in all the wrong ways. And yet I see that man's face coming back into government and I go, oh my God, I must be in a fantasy. A fantasy. One of those where they peel the grapes and give it to the king while he sits there and everybody else starves. Because the king's always going to have grapes. The rich, the royals will always have grapes. You? Are you going to always have grapes? Couldn't you pay $1 a grape? Could you pay $2 a grape? You say, oh, I would, but no, I don't want to. Yeah. Right. So guess what? We got a problem. Anybody notice money is losing its value? Oh no! Lumber. You know that shit that grows out there in a tree form and you go out and buy it in the store, in the big box store? Super duper cheap. Yes, I've been known to be called Willy Wonka. Wilhelm. Thank you. And Lisa, so glad to see you. Okay. Point is, you might have gold. You can't eat gold. You can't put it over your head. You can't make a house out of gold. Well, you could. You better have a lot of gold, and you better know a lot of people going to come take it. Silver. Same thing. Didn't go up in value much. But wood, oh my goodness. You notice that a stud went from $2.50 to up to $11, $12 out in California? Did you notice it costs so much to build a house now that people are going to be building tinier houses, just like maybe UN Agenda 2021, 2030, 20, I don't give a shit what they call it. I think small and tiny is smart. I don't think small and tiny by order of the government in a sheetrock house. Yeah, I might sound like that guy. I'm his ghostwriter. Wilhelm. I hope you're one of his friends. That'd be Brad. So anyway, Darby, myself, I'm writing a book about Brad and all the cool shit that he did before he left us Salvage, Texas. Salvage, Texas is a place where we're building an example, an embassy, a cosmic embassy, artist's castle out of salvage. There's the ship of salvage dreams. I should be showing these things in the background. I don't have all my backup. Flying grapes. I got them. We're trying to graft actually table grapes onto our, well, we have enormous amounts, thousands and thousands of pounds of muscadines, and there's another name for them. But they're not as tasty and they got seeds. So we're going to try to graft and see if we can do that. Need help? Betty, yes, I saw Betty. That's why I'm bringing this up. Come help. So that's one of our things. We're getting permaculture going. So now we have about 4 miles of shoreline. We have water where no water stood. We have life. Every foot of shoreline, that's frogs, that's fish, that's all these things that can live now that couldn't live here before. I said before. Before Adam Cattell passed away. He wrote a great song. I always like to recommend it. Song of Salvage. There's 2 versions. I want to recommend them if anybody's paying attention. Of course, and most of you, Betty and Lisa, you've seen it. But it's the Song of Salvage. It's a poem I wrote about saving all the trees and saving the houses at a time when people didn't give a crap. You know what? What's really encouraging? It's encouraging for me, I should say. I think people are starting to give a crap. I think they're starting to care. I think they're starting to realize that if we throw away the best of the past, all the great old wood from trees that were 1,000 years old, maybe, just maybe, it makes good sense not to use sheetrock that's made out of 47% fly ash out of the bottoms of electrical plants. It's considered hazardous waste unless you were to mix it with, say, gypsum and call it sheetrock. Sandwiched between paper with black mold spores. And why is there black mold spores in there? Because you can't kill it off. It's kind of like the worst spores of mold that you can't kill with anything. So you dry them up and you put them inside a sheetrock. And as long as you don't add water, hey, you're cool, man. Just don't add water. Black mold. Green mold, not so bad. White mold, not so bad. Black mold? Yeah. Hey, Tim, there you are, guy. I'm waiting for you, Tim. Trust me, I got someplace for you to come. That's a young gentleman whom we hope to go ahead and help demonstrate that miracles are possible. I like to demonstrate that. I like it when others get a chance to demonstrate that. Because if you see it, if you meet somebody that might have broke their back as a child and survived it, that might have been burnt, crippled by their parents, and survived it for a reason. All of you that suffered, you thought, man, I should be hating the world, I should be angry. No, wait a minute, you asked for it. You wanted that training, preparation. That sounds harsh, but you're looking at somebody who got that. Why? You know, there's a thing. I wouldn't be prepared with what's going on right now. I wouldn't be ready. I had to be able to survive the training. Yeah, what's he talking about? Well, you know what I'm talking about. Salvage the best of your past and understand you created this life so we could be here right now and be part of this wonderful time. So my message tonight is this. I'm keeping it short because people don't want me to talk too much. I've had a lot of people like myself find this light within charged up, awakened, not like suddenly. Over 65 years, my filament has been tuned, been toughened. I've trained so that one day I'd meet others who, like myself, had eaten out of dumpsters. I'd meet others who were crippled and yet beaten. I'd meet others who were poor and treated like shit. As I served others as a waiter, as a bartender, as I cleaned the stalls as a janitorial service helper at 15, as I served in the army, being told, oh, by the way, we own your body. You can pack your soul someplace for the time being because you do what we tell you to do. And I'm sorry, thank you for your service, my dear fellow veterans. We owe you for our freedom. And I'm not one of those that wants to just run off and give it up right now. I don't believe in surrendering to the enemy before you've even gotten through the war. What do I mean? Gotten through the war. What war? In case you haven't been following, folks, there's a time. There's a season. America is ripe due to the division within our country and through forces that have spent a great deal of money, a great deal of planning. Unlike yourselves, perhaps, I've had the luxury of being able to spend a lifetime from the outside looking in. I was created in the backseat of a car in Michigan, born overseas in Germany, and between Germany and coming back to the United States and South America, and changing schools all my life, and going on to have great success as an entrepreneur, making millions of dollars, having a child, a son, to raise, to lose, to awaken me to why I was really here. It wasn't for the things, it wasn't for the money. I'm happier living in a tiny house with no electricity than I ever was in a 5,000 square foot house with just with everything. It's not the things. It's the people. Why am I taking this time? Why am I sticking my head out here so I can get it blown off by all those people who are going to go? Where'd he come from? That crazy old man up on the hill? Well, just like Mr. Trump, some of us had something to do, but first we had to go ahead and prepare. Just like some of those guys that had corporations that went ahead and stepped out of the head chairs. They didn't go ahead and destroy the corporation, being able to say what they had to say, do what they had to do, speak up for the truth. Because they knew they'd take a hit financially, because I guarantee you. I used to be in all the magazines. I used to be in newspapers. I used to be all over the place when this was just a novelty. And then when all of a sudden it turned out to be a threat, the big box stores realized you don't need them to build a house. You don't need imports. You get rid of code that requires you to use crap that's dangerous for you. You don't even need to build a toxic house. And if you build tiny houses, you know, loopholeology, the study of how do you go ahead and build it and not pay taxes on it, be able to move it if you need to, be able to build it out of salvage, be able to create a village and not have it be on the grid, per se. They don't like that. Turns out, shadow banning, guys, I didn't know what it was 12 years ago, 10 years ago when it started. You don't have to do nothing bad. Actually, what you have to do is give people hope that they got a chance, a way to fight back against the system and thrive, not just survive. More millionaires are made out of salvage, the trash of others per se, than any other thing. You know what the secret is? The secret is simple. It's not what you have. It's knowing the value of what you have. But in the end, you stand 1,000 people up in a straight line, naked, no jewelry. You do that. You see who stands tall, who stands proud, who stands unashamed, who can walk away from there with nothing but the skin on their gelatinous shell, with that filament, proud, strong, burning bright. That filament that makes this gelatinous shell, this light bulb of a human being shine. Yeah. That source, that light, that fuel for the filament. Well, if you wonder where the light beings are coming from, the legion of hope, well, guess what, folks? They may be among you. As Gandhi said, as Buddha said, it's time to ignite the light in others. It's time to do something special. Please, join me. Help me write this book. The book of Wibblry and WUB. Y'all have a great day.